fire up the throwaways. What's something that has happened to you that you wish you could tell your friends about but is too inappropriate? I had a really bad infection and was on all sorts of antibiotics and pain medications for over a week. In this time I became horribly, irrevocably, constipated. I mean, nothing. I started getting hemorrhoids, awful hemorrhoids that were so incredibly painful that I would cry at the thought of crapping. A week goes by and at this point I stop eating. I didn't want to create anything else in my bowels. The discomfort is out of control. I go to the dog park with a close friend of mine who tells me I look grey. I confide in her what is going on and beg her to help me. She has worked in the past at a colonics place that she has the keys to. So here we are on a Sunday night. I'm hooked up to this colonics death machine that is in my anus and will not put water in because the tube keeps getting stuck in crap. Literally, it was like sticking a straw in a block of cheese. I am crying, hyperventilating. I mean, really, you start to go insane. I'm in so much pain and scared so much I just start begging my friend to do something. She tells me she's going to the drugstore to get an enema. She hands me a pair of rubber gloves and leaves. It's at this time that I start digging the crap out of myself. With the hemorrhoids and infection and all, I am crying on the colonics table digging bits of crap out of my anus. Do you know how bad crap that has stayed in you for over a week smells? Bad. I am sweating profusely, which is just mixing in with my hysterical tears and digging crap out of myself and saying the most ridiculous things. Oh god, please help me. I dig enough and get terrified enough that I just go to town in spite of the pain. Just ripping crap out and trying to push even though it won't budge. And then, all of a sudden my colon cramps and I run to the toilet where I literally explode the biggest baby arm of a crap and nearly ripped my butthole apart. It was like a freaking bomb. Though I was in the worst pain, I was giggling uncontrollably and euphoric that this crap was out of me. Couldn't sit straight for a week. I thank God every time I take a crap now. I feel bad telling this story for her sake, but I had a girl over one night and things started to get hot and heavy and she started to give me a BJ. This was last winter and I think she had a cold because she was sniffling every few seconds, but I didn't think anything of it. She sneezed on my junk. With my dong in her mouth, it was kind of a muffled sneeze but plenty of air and snot escaped straight into my pubes. I didn't want to embarrass her, so I didn't say anything about it and figured she would take care of the snot with a tissue or something. Nope. Thinking I didn't notice a sneeze or the ensuing load of snot in my man turf, she continues the blowjob, working the snot into the blowjob. She kind of smeared it with her hand so that it was back onto my dong as she was blowing me. She was giving me a blowjob with her snot as the lubricant. I immediately became flaccid but still finished a few minutes later. She never said anything. I didn't call her or text her for a while, but a few months later on Cinco de Mayo I was all hammed up and texted her and she came to my place after heavily drinking at the bar. Once again she went down for the BJ, except this time, after gagging 3 or 4 times, she threw up on my dong. I knew what had happened. I said, "What was that?" She said, "Oh, I thought you came but apparently I threw up." She left for the bathroom and spent the next 20 minutes either cleaning up or crying or both. I have since given her the nickname Sneezy. 02 on the BJs. About 6 months ago, while babysitting my girlfriend's little brother, I found her parents' naughty box. It contains adult toys, assorted pee, lube, pictures from their honeymoon and more recent escapades, and a homemade fricking tape. I have watched and masturbated to and with all of these objects multiple times. I now imagine her mom's face every time I see her. PS. That awesome feeling when your dong is bigger than your girlfriend's father's dong. PPS. The video was her parents making out. Mom in lingerie, crotchless thong and a peekaboo bra with her nipples showing. They fall on the bed and he sucks on her nipples and plays with her pee while she explicitly tells him about masturbating earlier that day while thinking about fricking him. She flips over and sucks him off for a few minutes. Deep throat slim ect. She opens her legs and he eats her out for a good 10 minutes while she sucks her own nipples. She comes a few times, shaking and moaning before he mounts and fricks her till he comes. Hot crap, really. So I was hunting when I was younger. I'm not a huge hunter and would get extremely bored sitting in a tree for hours on end by myself. This year though, I had my brand new iPod video, which I had loaded with pee videos. So I'm in the tree stand and I decide to start watching some pee. Just watch though. I'm not going to jerk off. So I start jerking off after a few minutes, but I'm totally gonna just jerk off for a little bit. I'm not gonna spludge the sticky. Well, one thing led to another and I guess you could say it wasn't gun that was shooting. I was then sitting there in a tree, freezing, iPod in lap with dong in one hand while my other hand caressed a puddle of my jizz. I panicked. I didn't want to jizz because my dad and others have always told me that deer can smell freaking everything and that they could smell it from miles away. I was about to ruin hunting for everyone. No deer would come near us if my dong sauce was smeared all over a tree. So I did whatever I needed to ensure a good weekend of hunting for my fellow hunters. I ate my jizz, every last drop, because I was a hero, even if nobody knew. TLDR. I ate my jizz while hunting because I thought the deer would smell it. I was walking around Charlotte one morning at 3 AM after a long night, trying to find my dang car. A black woman rolls by 3 times before creeping up and asking where I'm going and if I needed a ride. I told her I was just looking for my car, and I think I'm good but thanks. Then she informed me she was gonna suck the heck out of yo dong. This is where that, is this crap really happening popped into my head, right before, am I getting in the car or getting the heck out of here? She was maybe a 4, and that's in the dark. Yay. I got in the car. DM. GBJ. Worked in an abattoir aka slaughterhouse, removing the innards, fat, eyes, etc. of sheep to get to their meaty goodness, usually 2,000,000 animals a day, to try to stave off the oh so certain craziness that had infected everyone there, and disassociate myself from the trauma of what I was actually doing. I would recite all the lines from the Return of the Jedi, all of them, even the alien speech, and associated translations, and eventually the sound effects, maybe twice a day. So maybe, on second thoughts, the crazy got me anyway. TLDR. Worked in slaughterhouse, recited every line of Return of Jedi to get through the day. I've told a few new people in my new town about this, but none of my old friends know about it. Between girlfriends, I went out with this chick a few times. One night, brought her home, we hook up. She's laying on the bed and I'm standing next to it. She gets off, I think, and while doing so, she farts. By farts, I mean sharts. I kinda heard it, but I definitely felt it. I stop. We both look down. There's crap on my balls. We look each other in the eye. We both look down again. I do what I think any other guy in my situation would do. I continue where I left off. I was really close. She freaks out. She's like, wait, what? What the frick? What the frick are you doing? Stop. What the frick? Stop. I finished while she was saying all that. So, yeah, after that, she wouldn't return my calls or texts. I guess she was embarrassed. I didn't really care. Crap happens. TLDR. Got pooped on and I guess I was technically a rapist for a minute. Shitted and acquitted. When I was 4, my uncle, 16, used to ask me to help him masturbate. We've all been frisky 16-year-olds, so I don't really hold it against him. But one time, he tried overstepping his bounds and asked me to suck on it instead. Me, being the typical 4-year-old, thought that was gross and said I'd tell on him to my grandma, whom he obviously still lived with. And what luck, she was still awake watching some stuff on the TV downstairs. So I go downstairs and tell her what he wanted me to do, and she countered with, he just took a bath tonight. I just scrunched my face up in disgust and went upstairs, intending to stick to my guns. Oddly, my uncle was no longer where I left him and was mysteriously in bed. Never asked me to touch him in any way ever again. I still can't figure out what my grandma was thinking, because his actions can kinda be explained, while hers are straight into WTFville. Luckily, I turned out fine afterwards. I got my first BJ while I was in school suspension in high school. I don't even remember what I got in trouble for, but I'm glad I did. I had always sort of had a crush on this chick, but she was so out of my league and was one of the popular girls. We were both in ISS for different reasons, and talked a bit in whispers, so as not to attract the attention of the principal, whose office was just down the hall. It started when she gave me a titty twister, trying to make me yelp and get in trouble for making noise. I gave her one back. This went back and forth for a few minutes, and I didn't mind taking a bit of pain in order to feel those sweet boobies. Then she grabbed my junk and looked me dead in the eye. I let her proceed, and she started to blow me. The next day, I asked her what that was all about. Turns out she had no recollection of the event, as she was tripping balls on shrooms. We had a lot of drug use in that school. She asked what happened and I said, oh, we just gave each other titty twisters to try to get in trouble. So you were touching my booba? Yeah. Then she slapped me and stormed off, and never spoke to me ever again. As someone who has done shrooms quite a bit, you don't forget what you did while on them. That's why they are awesome. I met a girl a couple of years ago. We had gone to the same high school but I hadn't met her before. Anyway, we talk over Facebook and video chat. No sound though, and it's going great. Before we go to a football game for my old high school however, she tells me her secret. She was born male and was still in the process of becoming a female. We still hung out, and it was fun. We ended up fooling around. She gave me head and we ended up fricking. Backdoor of course. It wasn't that good, but I'll admit that could have been my fault. I wasn't very experienced at the time. She finished the transformation, and I haven't seen her for about 6 months because she moved out west and severed all ties. You know, I actually regret not dating her. She was an amazing girl, and I don't have any qualms with what I did. I just don't need the drama it'll cause if it gets back to me. TLDR. I am a straight man that fricked a pre-op gender reassigned woman in the butt, and I'm not ashamed. I expect this to be lost among the replies but here goes. My mother died when I was 5. I was emotionally abused and occasionally beaten by my funny stepmother. She ridiculed me and told me I was worthless since she married my father when I was 6. He worked all the time and the one time I told him about what was going on, she made me pay for it later. I haven't felt like I was part of my family since I was 11. I feel like that would labeled as defective and unworthy if I tell anyone. So I fake it. I pretend that I'm part of my family. I'm in my mid-20s now. That's what I think is too inappropriate to tell me friends. I had a pretty similar childhood. My advice, run. Get as far away from that as you can and never look back. Because you don't have a family and pretending like it exists won't do anything but keep the wounds open. When they're gone, really gone, that's when you can make a family of your own, whether from friends or otherwise. I once was staying at a good friend's apartment who lived right up the road from me. My lease had just run out and I needed a crash pad for a week while I waited for my grades to come in. She and I dated for a couple months, but we never got serious and then became good friends. During my stay, her sister, her pet, came to visit her from another uni. Her sister and I hit it off really well on the first day, so on the second day when her partner had work, her pet and I got drunk off tequila shooters and fricked the crap out of each other on her partner's bed. Besides the obvious frick smell, her pet had apparently just begun her period mid-thrust. This left the sheets and blanket covered in blood and semen, among other fluids. We then continued drinking and fricking right up until her partner comes home. Thank fricking Jesus she texted us that she was on her way home from work though. We were running through the house like greased up deaf guys trying to clean up the mess of everything. Her partner gets home and looks at us trying to act all nonchalant. Then she shrugs and goes upstairs. She comes out a minute later giving us the oddest look and asked where her bed covers were. Her sister then says that we spilled tequila on them and they needed to be washed. Saved by the mother frickin' bell. I didn't have a story made up, but her partner believed it. I am still close friends with them both, and I could never bring myself to tell her that I came all over her sister, her bed, her closet, and then wiped off with her bath towel all in the same day. I would like to get it off my chest though. I felt awful, like good after all that fricking. When I was a kid I was visiting my male cousins. I am a girl. Everyone was outside playing but I went inside to pee and I saw what I thought was a mask sitting on the bathroom floor. I went outside with the mask on my face being silly and dancing around saying something about Star Wars and I noticed the parents had a horrified look on their faces and the boys were just laughing their asses off but wouldn't tell me why. My aunt came over and took the mask off my face and told me it wasn't a toy. I just realized the other day it was a cup. For a dong. That kind of cup. Why? Why me? And now I am too embarrassed that I didn't realize it until I was 24, so I can't tell anyone. This is a story that actually happened to me. I had these friends who were somewhat destructive. Imagine living with the cast of Jackass. That's essentially what you're looking at. Anyways, so apparently one of them thought it would be funny to crap in my peanut butter, seal it, and just leave it to be found another day. I stumbled upon said crap in the peanut butter while trying to make a sandwich, probably days after the initial dump took place. Before I busted the lid there was no hint of bad smell, but after a small twist it was as if I'd unleashed the Pandora's box of crappy smell. An old curled up turd isn't exactly something I was looking for in my peanut butter. To this day, 3 years later, none of them will admit to it. Even away from me, none of them fess up. It's a mystery to everyone to this very day. Still can't tell the story without cringing. TLDR. Friends crap in my peanut butter. No one will admit to it. My first time fricking. When I climaxed, I slipped and shat all over my floor and fell in a mixture of poo and semen. On that day, me and my girlfriend made pasta with Alfredo sauce, which requires milk to make. I'm lactose intolerant, so if I ever ingest a dairy product, I get the shoots like mad. So we ate that for lunch, around noon, and then later in the evening is when we fricked. I had her hunched over my bed, and I was working from behind, not back door, and my floor is a tile floor. So this session oh frick was going on for quite a while and my feet hadn't moved for a few minutes, so moisture was building up underneath my feet. When I bricked, it felt so freaking good. My legs twitched, and I wound up slipping, and my dong slipped out of her while jizz was coming out. And all this time, I had to poop. I had to poop. So the semen and poo is coming out of my body, and as I was coming down, my head hit my nightstand and gashed it open something fierce. As I recall, I had poo all over my legs and butt, semen on my chest, and blood dripping down my face. Not the best highlight of my existence upon this planet. I am currently deployed in Afghanistan, and while doing a route clearance mission my gunner had pee on his iPod Touch and was playing through our speakers we put in the RG-31 military vehicle. I told them all I was going to turn my mic off for a couple of minutes. I then took his iPod Touch and began to jerk the crap out of my dong. I lasted probably 3 minutes before I nutted into a thing of gauze, used to stop bleeding. I am a medic BTW. The thought of being blown up any second really sparked this idea to masturbate while on mission. Nothing has compared to it yet. Great times. I'll defiantly try it again before I go back home. Combat Jack. My brother, older by 2 years, physically shamed me for a period of 5 years, age 9-14. I am a male, 26 years old now. I haven't had a date in years and have no idea what my sexual identity is. Dongs turn me on but the fricking disgusts me. Laddie bits don't really turn me on but the fricking is fantastic. At this point I'd kill to be straight, gay or bi and be certain of it. I've had many lady friends but have been intimate with very few of them. That zero confidence chicken shittery often leads me to frick men. Frankly, it's just easier to find willing male partners than females. I've become mildly indifferent to the disgusting nature of gay fricking. When I was 9 or 10 years old, my family took a week-long trip up north to visit my grandparents. It was normal for me to fall asleep in my grandmother's room watching cable on her television. On the last night of the trip I slept on the floor of her room. When I awoke the next morning, there was a stinging in the head of my dong. I went to pee and discovered that three small chunks were taken out, roughly in the shape of a unilateral triangle. Each was roughly the circumference and depth of the average eraser at the end of pencil. Obviously it freaked me out and hurt, but I kept my cool. I showed my mom in a gas station restaurant bathroom on the way back, but she didn't take me to a doctor. It healed pretty quickly too. Maybe took a week or two. At the time I had a hard time figuring it out, and I still can't. I thought maybe my grandmother did it, or maybe her dog, or maybe some sort of rodent, but none of that makes sense. I even thought I might have been abducted by aliens. I often had what I assume now were sleep paralysis episodes, so it would have gone right along with that. Who knows? I can't think of anything now that could explain it. Actually, I'd tell this story to anyone. I don't give a crap. I don't belong in this thread. One time I was sick in college, so I decided the best thing to do was drink tons of echinacea tea. I must have had 8 or 9 cups of it. I was sitting on the couch watching TV waiting to head to class when I farted and liquid shot out of my butt into my shorts. I freaked out and cleaned it up, changed shorts and underwear, then realized I should read the tea packaging. It warned not to drink any more than 3 cups a day. I started laughing hysterically and wanted to tell my friends, but realized pooping on the couch wasn't a good discussion topic. TLDR. I peed out of my butt because I drank too much tea. Not an extraordinary one, but I often remember what happened and makes me feel weird. So I was with my at the time best friend and we came over his male cousin, who was pretty freaked up, despite his parents being really kind and stuff. There was this farm near his house. We decided to go there and see if we could find anything funny. I should also notice you that the friend's cousin was carrying a shotgun, but not a big real one, just the ones you can find in carnivals, for example. And there we find a cat family, the mother and a bunch of kittens. Guess what the cousin thought of? Hey, let's shoot at the silly cats. He aimed at a little, almost newborn kitty, and fired. He hit the kitty in the butt and the bullet managed to go through his whole body and pierce through his head. We were about 12 at that age, and being a cat person, or maybe just a rational person, I was like, what the freaking heck? Why did he do that? I panicked, wanted to leave, but the kitty wasn't dead already. Since my friend and his cousin were freaking out a bit, they decided to finish off the little poor thing. How did they do that? Hit him with a shovel. Burnt into my brain. TLDR. Was with a friend and his cousin. Went to a farm. The cousin shot a kitty. Kitty not dead. Beaten to death with a shovel. PS. Sorry for the poor English. This made me rage. So much rage. I'm female. One night I was hanging out in a bar that I'm kind of a regular at. Met this random guy. I was pretty drunk and so was he. So we were making out within like a half hour of meeting each other. He told me he worked at a restaurant down the street that he had already closed down for the night and he asked if I wanted to come over. He made me a drink at the bar and we started messing around. I sucked his dong in the bathroom while I got myself off. I felt kind of dirty and but it turned me on big time. I think I may have given him the BJ of his life judging by his moans and the way he grabbed my hair. The more he moaned, the wetter I got. It turns me on now just thinking about it. I love sucking dong. I never saw him again. Earlier this same freaking day, my family left me at home alone. I turned 16 on Monday, so I figured, why not celebrate? I triumphantly began busting a nut in the middle of my living room, but soon realized I had nowhere to leave my load. So I put it in the nearest container, a half full glass of orange juice. Life goes on and about an hour and a half later I return to the living room to watch some TV. About 15 minutes in I get thirsty and take a sip of some salty orange juice and mother of God. But I realize instantly that I just drank my own jizz mixed with orange juice. Nearly puked. TLDR. Home alone. CM in a half full glass of OJ. Return 90 minutes later and accidentally drink my OJs. With or without pulp. Oh, I grossed myself out. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.